Today we're going to show you how to install a graphic kit on your DJI Phantom 2 quadcopter. And we have the graphics kit right here. There is a bottom piece, but I'm not going to take any of my gear off here, so I'm going to opt to not put the skin on the bottom. So I'm going to start off with the easier parts, and I'm going to turn the quad upside down. We're going to install all the pieces that go along the outside here. So we're going to use these vents as a reference point to line up our skin, and use the bottom part of where it attaches to the top part as a guide to line it up as well. These parts are really easy, so I'll put all these on and we'll skip ahead. Okay, we have all the bottom pieces on. I'm not going to put the skin on this part, so I don't want to take all my video gear off and gimbal, so I'm going to leave that alone. I'm going to flip the quad over and we'll do the top. I'm going to start with the back piece, and you see I've taken out the battery just so it's a little lighter and easier to move around. I'm going to get the back piece, and we're going to use, there's no center line here or any kind of marking right here to determine where the middle is or center. So I'm going to use the vents as a reference point to get my lineup. So I'll start here with the left side and line it up with the vent. And then I'll come over to this side and line up this side with the vent. Now it's going to be, there's going to be creases and puckers. You don't have to worry about that for right now. You can lift up a little bit and reposition if you need to, like I'm doing right here. Okay, so I've lined these up with the vents. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to start working my way back. And what we have to do is, on these side pieces, we'll use the radius of the motor opening to line up the skin, because it's a radius right here as well. We'll do the same for the other side. So you see I have it lined up perfectly. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a little heat in this area and this area for now to lay those front parts out. You just use very, very little heat. We'll lay that down. Now we'll start working this part back. You can use your index finger or thumb to go back and forth to get all the air out. And if you do get some air bubbles here and there, it's really easy to use a very sharp hobby knife and poke holes in the vinyl and just push them out. This I'm going to lift up a little bit because it's puckering a little too much. So I've lifted it up, and I'm just going to reposition it and push it down. I have a bubble right here. I'm going to use the hobby knife, poke a hole in it. So that's the hardest part, and this side's done. While we're over here, I'm going to go ahead and put this small piece on the back over where the battery goes. And this is a cool trick. If you ever want to find the center of a decal, you can fold it in half backwards, adhesive side out, and then pinch it, and it'll give it a little crease mark there. If the graphic already has some kind of center line, obviously you can tell where the center is, and then you can use it as a reference to line it up and get it as close to center as possible. Okay, so now we're going to put on the front part. This graphic was meant to overlap so we can achieve as much coverage as we can. So we are going to overlap it by about 1/16 of an inch, and what we'll do is we'll line it up with the graphic. So you see this design has these rivets in it. There's some rivets here, so we'll kind of just put them over and line them up that way. Same thing with these sides. We're going to line up the radius of the decal with the radius of the motor opening. Same with this side. And we'll start working everything down. Bubbles here. Okay, the top part is completely finished. I'm going to put the battery cover decal on now. Put this aside. Here we have the battery. There's some parts that might stick in the decal when you pull it off, like the cutouts, and you just want to pop those out and put them aside. You don't need them for anything, you just discard them. Okay, so we have this piece that goes over the battery here, and you see that we have some holes so the light can show through, and a hole for the button. So what you want to do is you want to line up the decal over the holes instead of trying to line it up over here. The reason being is because this is generally the middle part of the decal, and it will be easier to line up this section and work your way outward. And there you have it. Quadcopter skin for DJI Phantom 2.